Töne, sondern lasst uns angenehmere anstimmen und Feuertrunken himmlischen ein Heiligtum, deine Zauber binden wieder, was die Mode streng geteilt. Alle Menschen werden Brüder, wo dein sanfter Flügel weilt. Deine Zauber binden wieder, was die Mode streng geteilt. Alle Menschen werden Brüder, wo dein sanfter Flügel Folge
Good evening, and welcome to Eastern Kentucky University's Fall 2016 Commencement Exercises. Tonight, we honor degree candidates in the College of Business and Technology, the College of Education, and the College of Science. Please rise for the presentation of the national colors. Cheyenne Jennings will sing our national anthem. Then please remain standing as Cheyenne also performs My Old Kentucky Home.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? The sun shines bright in the old Kentucky home. 'Tis summer, the people are gay. The corn tops ripe and the meadows in the bloom, while the birds make music all the day. The young folks roll on the little cabin floor, all merry, all happy and bright. By and by, hard times come a-knocking at the door. Then my old Kentucky home, good night. Weep no more, my lady, oh, weep no more today. We will sing one song for my old Kentucky home, for my old Kentucky home far away.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 13th President of Eastern Kentucky University, Dr. Michael T. Benson.
Thank you very much, and please be seated. Our thanks again to Cheyenne for that beautiful rendition of the national anthem and My Old Kentucky Home. Just a parenthetical note, Cheyenne's husband was deployed to Kuwait yesterday on a 9-month tour, and we wish our best to Cheyenne and her husband. Thank you, Cheyenne. Parents, families, and friends, members of the Board of Regents, distinguished guests, faculty, and staff, thank you for joining us tonight to celebrate with our fall graduates this milestone in their lives. Tonight, we will formally confer 11 associate degrees, 226 bachelor's degrees, 90 master's degrees, 8 specialist degrees, and 12 doctoral degrees, for a total of 347 degrees. Tonight's graduates include many who have achieved academic distinction. We're proud of all those who are graduating with honors, but I'd like to recognize at this time 3 groups in particular. If you would, kindly hold your applause until all 3 groups have been recognized. Would all those who are graduating this evening from our nationally prominent honors program as honor scholars please stand and remain standing? Would all those who are graduating summa cum laude with a 3.9 GPA or higher please stand and remain standing? Now, would all those who are graduates with members of EKU's highest multidisciplinary honor society, Phi Kappa Phi, also stand and remain standing? Please join me in recognizing these outstanding scholars. Throughout her 142-year history, Eastern Kentucky University has been known as a school of opportunity, and we will always be proud of this distinction. I am particularly pleased to acknowledge this evening the many first-generation college graduates who are earning a degree. This means that neither their parents nor anyone in any earlier generation is a college graduate. Will all the candidates for degrees who are the first generation in their families to earn a college degree please stand? Thank you. Commencement is also the time we recognize the many others who have contributed to the success of these candidates with resources, encouragement, occasional cajoling, love, and understanding. Now I ask the following to stand as you are presented and remain standing so that we may welcome and honor you as a group. Again, please hold your applause until all have been recognized. Will the parents of the candidates for graduation please stand? Next, will spouses of the candidates please stand? Will grandparents of the candidates please stand? Will children and other family members of the candidates please stand? And finally, will the faculty and staff who have instructed and served these candidates please stand? Degree candidates, please join me in showing your appreciation for these very important people in your lives with a generous round of applause. Thank you very much. At this time, I would like to recognize some special individuals here on the platform, members of the Board of Regents who have joined us this evening. Will each regent please stand when presented and remain standing? Mr. Alan Long, Vice Chair of the Board from Richmond. Vasu Vasudevan from Frankfurt. Louis Diaz from Covington. Richard Day, Faculty Regent from Lexington. Brian Mackinnon, Staff Regent from Richmond. And Colin Potter, Student Regent from Mount Sterling. Please join me in greeting these members of our Board of Regents and express to them our appreciation for their dedicated service. Dean Tom Erickson will now introduce our student speaker from the College of Business and Technology. Dean Erickson.
Thank you, President Benson. As an academic dean, I get to meet a lot of interesting and high-performing individuals, both academic and professional, inside and outside of EKU. Tonight, students, you get to hear from one of your peers who has already proven to be both. Speaking on behalf of the graduating class for the College of Business and Technology is J. Taylor Davis from Hebron, Kentucky. He's graduating with a degree in marketing. Taylor is highly regarded by faculty and known as among the best I've seen by his professors, which became apparent when he was named one of the top producers in Northwestern Mutual's college program. Taylor is a second-generation EKU student and demonstrates a true Colonel passion, motivated by the entrepreneurial spirit and success of his parents, Jim and Jamie Davis. Mr. and Mrs. Davis are here this evening to share in Taylor's special day, along with his grandmother, Linda Davis, sister Lindsay Davis, and girlfriend, Alexandra Vessels. I know that you're proud of Taylor, as are we. It is now my pleasure and privilege to introduce the student speaker for the College of Business and Technology, J. Taylor Davis.
Thank you, President Benson, Dean Erickson, for your kind words. I'd like to welcome our guests to this city, known for its history, this campus, known for its beauty, and this university, known for its alumni production in the state economy. I'd also like to thank the College of Business and Technology for the opportunity not only to speak, but to walk out of here today with an accredited degree that sets me apart. Like our competing peers in the coming workforce, we were trained by intelligent researchers and decorated academics. However, as colonels, we were critiqued, questioned, challenged, broken down, built back up, refined, and sharpened by educators with real-world elite business experience. I had the privilege to learn from and be mentored by people like Professor Kirby Easterling, over 2 decades in global supply chain, Dr. Karen Hood-Hopkins, over 2 decades in radio advertising, Dr. Laura Barthel, International Accounting and Audit, and Dr. Phil Booten, a decade in advertising and marketing. See, it's one thing to have a professor click through some slides, aside some reading, and then test you on your memorization of a theory, process, framework, or strategy. It's another thing to go into a classroom, learn that same theory, process, framework, or strategy, and then have it illustrated in a real-world application by people who have done it, and done it at an elite level. This summer, I was fortunate to be admitted into Northwestern Mutual's college program, a top 10 internship in the nation, and #1 in financial services. I was equipped with world-class language and situational training, licensing in life, disability, long-term care, and annuities, and an unmatched culture of mentorship from senior advisors. I decided when I started that I was going to treat the internship like a business, and I'm so thankful I did because now I have one. I finished this summer in the top 75 of thousands of students nationwide, something that no other Kentucky institution can say they've had a student do this year. EKU Stories, along with a few papers around the state, published articles detailing the ranking, and my grandmother proudly hoards as many copies as she can get her hands on. After the article, business leaders reached out to faculty like Kathy Barr, our External Affairs Coordinator, and Tom Martin, Director for the Center of Economic Development. They voiced of this movement of excellence from colonels in the workplace and their curiosity as to where it comes from. I believe every bit of it goes back to the kind of student that comes to EKU. We're workers, we're grinders. We show up in sharp suits and press skirts, but with a lunch pail, blue-collar attitude. Because when we leave here, the job title may say entry level, but we can assure you, this isn't our first go at work. We don't all get here the same way. Some of us come traditionally as 18-year-old, aimless, naive freshmen. Some of us come here non-traditionally as career changers, as American heroes, as mothers, as fathers. As contrasting as our backgrounds may be, we all commonly leave here better than we came. And just as we came, being told what college would be like, we leave here being told what the world will be like, how far we can go, how much we can make, and who we're allowed to be. We're warned of a futile job market, framed degrees hung in vain, and an overworked, underpaid corporate ladder to nowhere. I often wonder what happened to the America that chose to go to the moon, the America that chose to dream, the America that pioneered fearlessly. When did we become a nation conditioned to think in terms of limits, barriers, and ceilings? If any generation would reverse the tides of pessimism and scaled possibilities, it shall be this one. No other generation in history has the influence of communication, the power of creativity, and the potential of mobility to ignite a reversal of the conditioned ideologies, though opposed to our benefit, act only to our detriment. We must see past the agenda of the cynics, only focusing on what we can do, what we can control, and what we can contribute. And if we are to be the generation that diverts from this disease of complacency and plague of victimhood, we must pivot our sails, skirting the safe harbor of comfort and stability in search of our place in history. In this hour of choice, we must choose to dream, strive, and accomplish beyond the realities of the skeptics, blinded by the bounds of rational limits. We must understand that those who fear to dream today will inevitably be left to dream of the dreamer's reality tomorrow. I was raised by two entrepreneurial EKU alums who attribute much of their success and fondest of memories to their time here in Richmond. Jim and Jamie Davis of Nicholasville, Kentucky, came to EKU and went on to build a successful company together. I grew up in that company, and it taught me three things: how to look people in the eye, the freedom of entrepreneurship, and how to go 2 steps beyond what was expected of me. My father was the outstanding alumnus of 1993, and his example has taught me that if you use your God-given talents, have the humility to improve, and the courage to dream, the only limits that we must overcome are those that we impose on ourselves. What really gives me such fervent conviction to be a second-generation colonel goes back to the means by which my father came here, the dream by which I came here, and the principled influence that fueled it all, my grandfather. You see, James Davis grew up in the tobacco fields and maybe had a 10th grade education. When he left the Army, he began working at Suburban Propane, delivering and sandblasting tanks in basements and crawl spaces. Before he left Suburban Propane to help my father start his business and take on his proudest role, being a papaw, he was offered a position as vice president of Suburban Propane. You may well ask, how can a man with a 10th grade education be offered a job as the vice president of such a company? The truthful answer is, when it would have been easy, just as it is today, to feel sorry for himself and make excuses as to what resources he lacked, he thrived because he was willing to go 2 steps beyond what was expected of him. That's why this school means so much to me, why being a second-generation colonel carries such pride in my heart. I'm here on this stage and speaking to you today because 2 generations back, a man decided that he was going to go 2 steps beyond what was expected of him, creating a future that he would never have for himself, so that his family would never have to start where he started, but instead start where he finished. That's why I can't understand why this generation is so content with settling for conformity to the diminutive space that the world tells us is ours. Why so many default to feeling sorry for themselves, wasting time pointing fingers at everyone, but the capable, talented, skilled person in the mirror. My grandfather was my best friend, and he passed away my junior year of cancer. Though he's not here today, to take a picture with my diploma or see his legacy on stage. The best of him is here, and it's carried on through me. The dark time of my life after he passed, though rooted in death, taught me a lot about life. I was recently asked amongst a group, what is your greatest fear? A few answers involved disappointing parents, failing in business, cumulative exams, the typical stuff. The immediate thing that came to mind for me was, my greatest fear is to die in obscurity. Essentially, to leave this world without the full breadth of my calling being exhausted along the lines of excellence. Some may wonder what a 22-year-old has business doing, fearing lack of time of all things. The truth is, after watching my laughing, loving, thriving grandfather diagnosed and gone in 3 months, I developed an internal clock. A clock that constantly ticks in the back of my mind, reminding me that my time is limited and my days to exhaust my calling along the lines of excellence are numbered. Though some may find that to be extreme, I find it to be the only way to truly live. When I first came to EKU, I lived in Martin Hall. May God rest its soul, but that poor dorm house from rowdy characters and went down with some tales that you wouldn't believe. It's since been demolished to make room for some much-needed upgrades. Probably took down some evidence with it, but nonetheless, the memories live on. See, coming to college, I thought it would be this fun experience, and it has been. I thought it would be a time of growth, and it has been. But what I didn't realize when I arrived at Eastern Kentucky University was that every day I would grow. Many strangers would become friends. Every night downtown would become a memory, and all of it together would become a story. Looking back at my time here, the thought of turning my tassel along the many friends, or the many faces of the many friends that I've made, I realized that it wasn't semesters of anything. It wasn't years of anything. It became a moment of everything. A moment that came and went so fast that I can only advise future colonels, don't blink. Every emotion, every adversity, every success, every fall, every back to the wall, all or nothing, go big or bust experience wrapped up into one. It passed by so fast. I feel like just yesterday I was swiping my meal card, attached to my orientation lanyard, of course. Freshman. Using a campus map on my phone, walking in wrong doors, mispronouncing professors' names, and stacking up enough parking tickets to prop up the wobbly end of my TV stand, which I really did. Looking back at that kid we all were when we arrived, and now, facing this bright-eyed, confident, spirited group, I think we all realize that this isn't just a college. This isn't just a campus. This is the little southern college town where big things happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Taylor. Dean Sherry Powers will now introduce our speaker from this College of Education.
Thank you, Dr. Weiss. It is my pleasure to introduce the speaker for the College of Education this evening, Mrs. Alexandria Harris. Alexandria is from Nicholasville, Kentucky. She has earned a Bachelor's of Science in middle grades education with concentrations in science and language arts. Alexandria has been part of the NASA STEM Fellows Program. She has provided leadership in our Eastern Kentucky University environmental education programs, which serve preschool through high school students. Mrs. Harris participated in the International Environmental Service Learning Program in Belize. She has been instrumental in designing a fundraising program to support Saturday morning science. The program offers science learning opportunities for elementary students. It is my pleasure to present to you Ms. Alexandria Harris.
Wow, you guys look fantastic. Absolutely. I would like to begin by saying a resounding and awe-filled thank you. Thank you to the faculty. Thank you for dealing with our late work excuses and the unbelievable ones, honestly. You've helped us through this and you've given this journey meaning. I would like to express my gratitude to the family members in the audience. Thank you for the home-cooked meals and leftovers. Most importantly, thank you for the unwavering support. I also want to recognize all of the friends in the crowd and in the graduating class. Thank you for the sleepless nights of laughter, for making study sessions worth it, and for the emotional support after an exam we studied for. Finally, I need to convey my heartfelt gratitude to my fellow graduates. I appreciate all of your sacrifices because, trust me, I know that they were great. I will always be grateful for the community and friendship that you have given me and the rest of your classmates. Now, this is the moment where I say that we did it, and we all grow a nostalgic smirk on our faces, but in truth, we haven't done it. We have not accomplished something and then we merely stand idle. We now begin our journey, and this is the foundation from which we rise. When I was in 3rd grade, I realized my education had a destination. It took all of 45 seconds to realize teaching would be that destination. From that point on, I've been creating my reality. I used to be quite shy and soft-spoken, but EKU had a huge role in molding me into a confident educator. Though I've found that my goal was never an ending, but a checkpoint in life. Because of EKU, I feel prepared to leave and fulfill my 3rd grade dream of becoming a teacher. Unfortunately, some of my other 3rd grade goals, such as no homework, naps, and chocolate cake every day, have sadly for me and my students been left behind. I chose to continue my journey to become a teacher at EKU simply because of the education program's exceptional reputation. In addition to an excellent education, this university has given me so much more. My experience at EKU has been exactly what those 90s collegiate movies led me to believe. I met a group of people and shared a multitude of quirky and strange adventures, from small smiles in the hallway, to zombie Nerf gunfights, to entire dormitory snowball fights on our mass consciousness on the Yik Yak. I have never felt more at home than I have here during my time at EKU. I'm not quite sure how to summarize the friendships and support that I've found in my fellow educators. Ubuntu is an African saying that means I am because we are. An anthropologist once placed a basket of fruit beneath a tree and told a group of children that whomever reached it first could have it all. The children all linked arms and charged after the basket together. They all reached the basket at the same time and shared. The anthropologist, confused, asked them why did they not race each other and compete against each other. They told him about Ubuntu and how we're all connected together. Remember, I am because we are. Instead of seeing one another as competition, we should grow together and aspiring towards our next checkpoint and, eventually, changing the world. The friends I've made in my classes while on my trip to Belize and working at Maywood's are some of the closest that I have ever found. Although we mainly spend our time debating standardized testing and talking about our plans for decorating our classrooms as if we were planning our weddings. I never knew that I could feel so at home and that there were people out there that could inspire me so much. I know this is the same in all majors. By following our passion and committing to our chosen field of study, we have all found a supported group of like-minded individuals. EKU has brought us together, but our differences are what have bonded us together. Learning about each other and finding friendship in the space between our cultures, our ages, religions, interests, and our genders is possibly the greatest thing that we have learned here. Though we all see the world from our own vantage point, we're still on the same mountain, working our way to the top, one movement at a time. Today is the day we've been waiting for, but this is not where we stop. Instead, it is the point in which we fly from, we rise from. The memories we made at EKU will keep us encouraged and will be a reminder that we are capable of anything. In closing, I want to thank Eastern Kentucky University for allowing me to address you guys and everybody here, the class of EKU's class of 2016, as such a milestone in our lives. Remember to look for the checkpoints in your life and fulfill the opportunities given to you by working with those around you in an effort towards change. To the class of 2016, congratulations and good luck.
Thank you, Alexandria. Dean Tom Otiana will now introduce our student speaker from the College of Science.
Thank you, Provost Vice. Each semester, a member of the graduating class from the College of Science is selected for the honor of presenting a student commencement address. This evening, the honor belongs to Ranisha Wasman of Cincinnati, Ohio, who's graduating with a degree in forensic science with a concentration in forensic chemistry and a minor in chemistry. Sharing in Ranisha's day, her mother, Lashando Caulfield, her grandmother, Jacqueline Caulfield, her aunt, Dorothy Caulfield, her sister, Sherla Wasman, and a number of members of Ranisha's family and her close friends. We know they are proud of Ranisha, as are we. It is my pleasure and privilege now to introduce the student speaker for the College of Science, Ranisha Nicole Wasman.
Good evening, President Benson, members of the Board of Regents, distinguished guests, faculty and staff, family and friends, and my fellow graduates. I am thankful to stand before you today and represent the graduating class of 2016 and to welcome you to the first commencement ceremony for the Eastern Kentucky University College of Science. Today, we become one. If you have never believed in the power of Maroon before today, I assure you that it is alive and is doing quite well. Today, students from across this great globe, from every walk of life, and from all nationalities and backgrounds, are represented and stand to receive the degree for which we have all worked so tirelessly. We have come a long way. In my short time of being a colonel, I witnessed buildings go down, walls repainted, and buildings go up. I watched President Doug Whitlock shake hands with the First Lady, Michelle Obama, and I have seen the vision of President Benson. We call it the Benson Extension. This plan is renewing our campus with new dining facilities, lively residence halls, and, in due time, extending campus far beyond our scope. Still, no matter what our campus looks like, it will always be our campus beautiful, and I will forever call it home. I swell with excitement as I speak about this huge milestone in our lives, graduation. Many of us are the first generation within our families to earn a college degree. Others of you are carrying on a family legacy. No matter the trail taken to get here, we come together, united at this milestone as one. Today, President Benson will confer hundreds of degrees and send us out into the world as bright, young, educated, and gifted learners. But for just a moment, let us savor the journey we have taken to get here. In one way or another, EKU piqued our interest, and that stuck with us like glue and made Eastern our new home. I represent our many out-of-state students as I hail from the Queen City of Cincinnati, Ohio. I came to Eastern specifically because I was attracted to its nationally prominent forensic science program. As a first-generation student, the transition from high school to a nationally ranked STEM program came with much adversity and many setbacks, but I was reminded by one of the most prolific minds of the 20th century, Malcolm X, who once said, "There is no better than adversity. Every defeat, every heartbreak, every loss contains its own seed, its own lesson on how to improve your performance the next time." His words resonate with me as they would most students in college because you persevered through this defeat. Whether it is academic, personal, friendships, heartbreak or loss, you continue to stand without wavering. That is something I think we have all done. Within this adversity lies a thank you to my classmates. From general education courses to upper-level chemistry courses, we carried this load together. A special thanks must go to one of my confidants, Professor and Chair of the Chemistry Department, Dr. Darren Smith. Like many professors here, he is passionate about cultivating an environment conducive to learning, even if, we must admit, the subject matter is sometimes dry. Somehow, he found a way to drive his points home and painted the picture I needed to understand. Thank you, Dr. Smith. Like Dr. Smith's example, most students feel at home at Eastern because of the unique support from the faculty, staff, and the administration. Throughout my undergraduate career, I understood the value of utilizing different support systems on campus. Students come to Eastern to get an education, but if they're willing to go an extra mile and get involved, they walk away with an experience. I first found my place by joining the distinctive Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. There was a certain level of comfort seeing the impact I had on other students through the multiple roles I was able to hold within this organization. The support I received from both Zeta Phi Beta and from my fraternity brothers of Phi Beta Sigma was second to none. Their support lifted me and kept me up when I felt low, and has kept me moving forward when I was ready to call it quits. This opportunity and leadership allowed me to travel the country and develop as a leader while serving others. It gave me the strength to seek other roles on campus, including that of a resident assistant. Through this important role, I advocated for diversity while ensuring the inclusion of every student that I met. As I became more involved on campus, I had to juggle my academic and extracurricular lives. The path to becoming a forensic scientist became foggier, seeing that I thoroughly enjoyed and was invested in helping college students. The answer to my self-doubt came in my last 2 years at Eastern. As an upperclassman, my daily tasks included taking upper-level chemistry classes while helping students see that we are far more alike than we are different. I must admit that some of my most important lessons were taught outside of the lecture. One of the most influential women I've met is Shantae Hurst, Associate Director of Student Life, who is graceful, possesses tall character, and is so genuine. She has been one of my biggest supporters. Through her professional experience and resources, Shantae helped me secure numerous opportunities related to campus involvement, but most importantly, my transition from an undergraduate to graduate school. For that, I thank you, Shantae. For my mother and grandmother in the crowd, I am forever indebted to you for placing such an emphasis on the education. You pushed me to never settle. When I thought a high school graduation was enough, you pushed me to follow my dreams and to keep going. Like many parents in the crowd, you are strong beyond belief, and you have made the difference. You always told me to be better than the environment and conditions I was raised in, and without you both, I am certain that I would not be able to present this speech with such gratitude. While forensic science has a special place in my heart, my involvement at Eastern allowed me to grow and find personal happiness in helping students, specifically those from underrepresented populations and first-generation college students like myself. This appreciation helped me to understand that I want to pursue student affairs professionally. This will enable me to foster success and build leaders in the next generation, something that to me is greater than any dollar amount that I can make with science. Throughout my journey, I advocated passing the torch and leaving your legacy in whatever endeavor you choose to pursue. And I hope my fellow classmates will consider this ideal and do the same. Make an investment in your community, in the people to whom you are closest, and in your career. Whatever you choose to do, brand it and impact those around you. Successful people tend to be those who have been brave enough to live life to the fullest, daring to challenge the next generation to be better than you were, to turn new leaves, and to think critically about the decisions that you make. A mastermind is actually someone who is kind to everyone and who can think ahead without bias. I dare to venture and pose the question, what's next? For those of us graduating, I ask, what have you done to ensure the continual excellence and growth of this great institution? How will we take what Eastern has provided for us the past few years to keep the university's flame lit? What are you going to do to nurture and foster the next person's growth? Someone once told me, don't just make a difference, be the difference. As my fellow, and that we have done. As my fellow graduates and colonels stand before me, I ask that you stand firm with no fear and make the best of any shortcomings. And many times, we fear failure and only embrace the good. But in reality, you should embrace all that comes your way and take it as a learning lesson. At times, when it's hard to be optimistic, fall back on your core and what keeps you going. For me, it's simply helping the person next to me find what has kept you going, what has kept you motivated, and what has kept you steadfast. I want to close with one of my favorite quotes. Start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. We started at Eastern, utilized this campus for its worth, and worked at the highest capacity, both academically and socially. We all have a purpose, and whether it is known or not is not an issue. What is important is where you will go based upon the stepladder that EKU has provided to ensure your success. Always do what you can, and it will always triumph over not trying at all. The foundation is built, and we made it. Congratulations, class of 2016, and go Colonels.
Thank you, Renisha. We have heard 3 excellent student presentations. You can see why we are so proud of our EKU graduates and the breadth and the depth of their experience while they've been here. Let's give Taylor, Alexandria, and Renisha one more round of applause.
President Michael Benson and Provost Vice will now proceed with the formal conferring of the degrees on our candidates. Candidates, as your degree category is called, please stand and remain standing until the final group is called.
President Benson, Dean Jerry Pogachnik will present candidates for graduate degrees.
Will all candidates for doctoral degrees please stand and remain standing? Will all candidates for specialist degrees please stand and remain standing? Will all candidates for master's degrees please stand and remain standing? President Benson, these candidates have been approved by the faculty, and I present them to you for the conferring of their degrees.
President Benson, Dean Tom Erickson will present candidates for undergraduate degrees in the College of Business and Technology.
Will the candidates for baccalaureate degrees in the College of Business and Technology please stand and remain standing? President Benson, these candidates have been approved by the faculty, and I present them to you for the conferring of their degrees.
President Benson, Dean Sherry Powers will present candidates for undergraduate degrees in the College of Education.
Will the candidates for baccalaureate degrees in the College of Education please stand and remain standing? Will the candidates for associate degrees please stand and remain standing? President Benson, these candidates have been approved by the faculty, and I present them to you for your conferring of their degrees.
President Benson, Dean Tom Otiano will present candidates for the undergraduate degrees in the College of Science.
Will the candidates for baccalaureate degrees in the College of Science please stand and remain standing? President Benson, these candidates have been approved by the faculty, and I present them to you for the conferring of their degrees.
President Benson, with the recommendation of the faculty, the deans and I present these candidates to you for the conferring of their degrees.
Candidates, the long anticipated hour has come. You are here with family and loved ones looking on. The faculty and officers of the university are gathered in witness and testimony to your conduct and purpose. Therefore, by virtue of the authority granted me by the Board of Regents of Eastern Kentucky University, and with the faculty's recommendation, it is now my pleasure to confer upon each of you the appropriate degree, and do hereby vest each of you with the rights and privileges pertaining to that degree. Once verified by final grades, your diploma will be confirmed and acknowledged by the Great Seal of Eastern Kentucky University. Congratulations. Please be seated. Professor John Strada will now read the names of the graduates. Out of respect for the graduates, especially those whose names are to be called next, I ask that you remain seated and hold your applause until all the graduates have been recognized and the recessional begins. I know this may be difficult, but I ask you to please be respectful to all the candidates today. Will the honorary faculty advisors please escort the degree candidates to the stage?
College of Business and Technology, School of Applied Sciences and Technology, Applied Engineering and Technology, Dr. Tim Ross. Master of Science, Jennifer Rick. Celine Carr, Applied Engineering and Technology Management. Yeni Kurniawan, Applied Engineering and Technology Management. Rita Niall Yalda, Applied Engineering and Technology Management. Zachary Keith Ball, Network Security and Electronics, magna cum laude. Christopher Allen Bundy, Network Security and Electronics. Shannon Reese Morrison, Career and Technology Education, Teaching. Justin Michael Smith, Technology, Computer Electronics. David Lawrence Henley, Network Security and Electronics. Eli Cooper Taylor, Network Security and Electronics. Philip Gregory Wilson, Network Security and Electronics. Jalen Michael Taylor, Construction Management. Jason K. Parrott, Construction Management. Richard Allen Buckler II, General Studies. Levi Michael Isaacs, Construction Management. Brian Everett Jones, Technology, Computer Electronics. Christopher Cervantes, Applied Engineering Management. Patrick Wayne Reynolds, Applied Engineering Management, magna cum laude. Lucas Paul Taylor Chowning, Aviation, Professional Flight. Agriculture, Dr. John Satimi. Julia Neiman Barney, Agriculture Pre-Veterinary, summa cum laude, Honor Scholar. Jessica Lorraine Eggers, Agriculture, Animal Science. William Andrew Muncie, Agribusiness Management. Joshua A. Jones, Technical Agriculture. Jack McCall Considine, Agribusiness Management. Melanie Beth Brogel, Agribusiness Management. School of Business. Master of Business Administration, Lindsay Taylor Simpson. Logan Taylor Pentacuff, Business Administration. David Kyle Sheeks, Business Administration. Giridhar Sakanini, Business Administration. Accounting, Finance, and Information Systems, Dr. Oliver Feltus. Melissa Ann Ferguson Cannon, Accounting. Elizabeth Denise Trosper, Accounting. Alexis Nicole Conley, Accounting. Michelle Boardman Miller, Accounting. Justin Charles Osborne, Accounting. Alexander Anthony Martin, Computer Information Systems, magna cum laude. Ronald Keith Roberts, Computer Information Systems. Regina K. Montgomery, Accounting. Emily Brianna York, Accounting, Finance, magna cum laude. Jean M. Chandler, Accounting. Zachary Wayne Gibbons, Accounting. Robert William Wilson, Computer Information Systems. Travis Wayne Purcell, Accounting, cum laude. Edmund John Furphy III, Accounting, cum laude. Kylie Marie Caldwell, Accounting. Shelby Ray Fain, Accounting, Risk Management, and Insurance, magna cum laude. William Douglas Baker, Financial Planning and Risk Management and Insurance. Alma Leanne Abel, Risk Management and Insurance. Audrey Onome Egdeben, Risk Management and Insurance. Mohammed Mohsen Aliami, Risk Management and Insurance. Chase Frederick McWhorter, Financial Planning, Risk Management and Insurance. Abdul Aziz Abdul Wahib Al-Zamil. Kevin Nicholas Collier, Accounting. Jordan Ray Tace, General Studies in Business and Technology. Huda Ali Alish Mohammed, Risk Management and Insurance. Aaron Schuyler Franklin, Accounting. Adam Dale Rose, Accounting.
I'm not coming. They messed it up.
Jalen Dwayne Rose, Accounting. Management, Marketing, and International Business, Dr. Lena Carnes. Tina L. Tipton, Business and Marketing Education, Teaching. Christopher Lee Lewis, Marketing. Joseph Thomas Kuntz, Management. Justin Michael Morris, Management Marketing, cum laude. Autumn Taylor Blakeman, Management Marketing, magna cum laude. Allison Taylor O'Neill, Management. Michaela Ann Wilson, Management. Tanner Harrison Hayes, Management. Blake Austin Morgan, Management, Entrepreneurship. Mallory Taylor McGee, Human Resource Management. James David Goodman, Marketing. Jonathan Walter Barger, Accounting, Global Supply Chain Management. Say again. Marcia Joanne Hardesty, Marketing, magna cum laude. Kaylin Page Sigmund, Marketing, magna cum laude. Alexandra Taylor Martin, General Business. Corbin Taylor Sargent, Management. Chase Lewis Blazer, Marketing. Kelsey Danae Williams, General Studies. Gail Lynn Hunt, General Studies in Business and Technology. Stephanie Marie Gacciani, Marketing, Professional Golf Management. Jonah Kent Johnson, Marketing, Professional Golf Management. James Taylor Davis, Marketing. Alejandro Alvaro, International Business. Esther Rogerio, Marketing. Randy Page Bowling, Pre-Business. Rodney Howard Mills, Professional Business Track. Alexander James Mapp, General Business. Is this you? Okay. College of Education. Oop, are you? Oh, got it. All right. It's all good. Hang on just a second. All right, College of Education, American Sign Language, Bachelor of Arts. Ali Nasser Sultan Al-Mansouri, Deaf Studies. Curriculum and Instruction, Dr. Ginny Fair. Master of Arts in Education, Alexandra May Elias, Elementary Education Teaching. Stacy Francis Jefferson, gifted education. Emily Beth Philpott, library science, P12. Grace Danielle Bixler, literacy, P12. Devin Nicole Stewart, school media librarian. Laurel Marietta Renier, secondary education. Bachelor of Science. Shelby Grace Stowe, elementary education teaching, magna cum laude. Ashton Nicole Tompkins, elementary education teaching. Elizabeth Ann Lawrence, elementary education teaching, cum laude. Emma Elizabeth Fraley, elementary ed teaching, magna cum laude. Sybil Jonelle Galloway, elementary education teaching, cum laude. Jessica Danielle Helton, elementary education teaching. Alexandria Devon Harris, middle grade education, magna cum laude. Patience Leanne Cox, elementary education teaching. Lindsay Nicole Emerson, elementary education teaching. Erin Elizabeth Melching, elementary education teaching. Allison Kegley Faust, elementary education teaching, summa cum laude. Noelle E. Ellsworthy, elementary education teaching, magna cum laude. Taylor O'Neill Wheatley, elementary education teaching, summa cum laude. Courtney Lachey Kyle, elementary education teaching. Caitlin Hope Williamson, elementary education teaching. Ashley Lynn Comfer, elementary education teaching. Thomas Allen Bailey, elementary education teaching, cum laude. Jacqueline Brooke Parker, middle grade education. Megan Elizabeth Shepper, middle grade education, summa cum laude. Athena Noel Deaton, middle grade education, summa cum laude. Educational leadership and counselor education. Doctor of Education. Laura Kristen Vance, Educational Leadership and Policy Studies. Michelle Ashley McCrory, Educational Leadership, Policy Studies. Lizette LeBron Rogers, Educational Leadership and Policy Studies. Tara Lee Isaacs, Educational Leadership, Policy Studies. Barbara Darlene Spurlock, Educational Leadership, Policy Studies. Susan Leslie Cornelius, Education Leadership and Policy Studies. Marisa Greer, Education Leadership and Policy Studies. Katrina Ann Sexton, Education Leadership and Policy Studies. Ashley Matthews Sweat, Education Leadership and Policy Studies. Kayla Marie Hibbard, Education Leadership and Policy Studies. Brandy Lee Stocker, Education Leadership and Policy Studies. Penelope Ann Jordan, Education Leadership and Policy Studies. Master of Arts in Education, Ben Hunley, Clinical Mental Health Counseling.
Yes.
Rebecca Summer Hunt Bowling, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Amanda Sue Neugebauer, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Jean Nakazawa, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Sandy E. Gossett, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Ashley Melissa Cox, Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Allison Elizabeth McCann, Student Personnel Services in Higher Ed. Catherine Beth Holman Samuel, Student Personnel Services in Higher Ed. Hannah Michelle Waugh, Student Personnel Services in Higher Education. Justin Timothy Schulte, Student Personnel Services in Higher Ed. Stephen Eric Smith, Instructional Leadership. Judith Christie Pittman, School Counseling. Sarah Elizabeth Adkins, School Counseling. Megan Marie Davidson, School Counseling. Mary Judith Adams, School Counseling. Kelly L. Gillum, School Counseling. Erin Diane Cope, School Counseling. Bachelor of Arts, Tara Marina Beckner, General Studies. Felicia Ray McNew, General Studies. Hadley N. Webb, General Studies. Michael Dillon Story, Bachelor of Science, Physical Education and Wellness Management. Dr. Karen Bridget Michelle Gay, Special Education. Bachelor of Science, Pandora Nicole Davis, Deaf, Hard of Hearing Education, summa cum laude. Emily Brooke Gilbert, Deaf, Hard of Hearing Education. Taylor Elizabeth King, Deaf, Hard of Hearing Education, cum laude. Emily Danielle Banks, Early Childhood Special Education, magna cum laude. Stacy Ray Shepard, Early Childhood Special Education. Rachel Lee Wilson, Early Childhood Special Education, magna cum laude. Brooke Chelsea Singleton, Special Ed Teaching, magna cum laude. Ashley Brooke Bogie, Special Ed Teaching. Heather Mackenzie Sturgeon Grant, Special Education, LBD P12. Gabrielle Elise Martis, Special Education Teaching. Amber Nicole Hoskins, Special Education Teaching. Benita Marie Whitaker, Special Education, LBD P12. College of Science, Department of Biological Sciences. Master of Science, Rachel Elizabeth Griffiths, Biology. Krista Rose Hurak, Biology. Colin Joseph Arnold, Biology. Bachelor of Science, Megan Elaine Martin, Wildlife Management, summa cum laude, Honors Scholar. Katie Leanne Fletcher, Wildlife Management, magna cum laude. Jack Gregory Fetters, Wildlife Management. Ryan Alexander Fortenberry, Wildlife Management. Tiffany Michelle Burke, Biology. Jessica Lace Hacker, Biology. Jessica Elizabeth Underwood, Biology, Honors Scholar. Amanda Caitlin Cute, Biology. Kristen Michelle Arnold, Biology, cum laude. Thomas William Hemingway Jr., Biology. Madison Faith Markham, Biology, magna cum laude. Kara Nicole Andrews, Biology. Brian Joseph Wyatt, Biology, magna cum laude. Earl Thomas Holland, Biology. Marcus Preston Schiffler, Biology. Daniel Lewis Mitchell, Biology. Department of Chemistry, Dr. Smith. Master of Science, Kristen Lee Bagley. Bachelor of Science, Sarah Madeline Michael, Forensic Science, summa cum laude. Renisha Nicole Wassman, Forensic Science. Jessica Dawn Louise Dove, Forensic Science, cum laude, Honors Scholar. Caitlin Claire Hydorn, Chemistry. Nicole Renee Lindsay, Forensic Science, cum laude, Honors Scholar. Devin O'Neill Morton, Forensic Science, Honors Scholar. Trey Vickers, Forensic Science. Jessica Lauren Hart, Forensic Science. Taylor Nicole Sprague, Chemistry. Angelica Dadwani, Forensic Science. Patrice Marie Peterman, Forensic Science. Dylan Courtney Norris, Forensic Science. Michelle L. Deere, Forensic Science, magna cum laude. Trevor John Holman, Chemistry. Sierra Lachey Lanehart, Forensic Science. Cassandra Ray Morgan Greer, Forensic Science, magna cum laude. Megan Marie Barrow, Forensic Science. Emily Spangler, Forensic Science. Nicholas Charles Howard, Forensic Science, magna cum laude. Shane Dean Riley, Forensic Science. Dr. Wong, Computer Science, Bachelor of Science. Olivia Caitlin Hornback, Computer Science. Thomas John Botkins Jr., Computer Science. Dustin Alexander Pierce, Computer Science. Riley Taylor Chadwick, Computer Science. Ethan James Lefebvre, Computer Science. Thomas Benjamin Wilson, Computer Science. Cassie Elise Allen, Computer Science, cum laude. Ahmed Altaniji, Computer Science. Malachi Vaughn Francis, Computer Science. Andrew C.C. Mullis, Computer Science. Dr. Dietman, Department of Geosciences. Bachelor of Arts, Larissa Desiree Watkins, Geography, cum laude. Shelby Elaine Tyring, Geography, magna cum laude.
Last name's like the bird.
Bachelor of Science, Jacob Lewis Robin, Geology. Dr. Munfram, Department of Mathematics and Statistics. Master of Arts, James Albert Taylor, Applied Mathematics. Bachelor of Science, Destiny LeRae Ennis, Mathematics. Emily Grace Stevens, Statistics, cum laude. Dr. Blos, Department of Physics and Astronomy. Bachelor of Science, Brian Joseph Spugardny, Physics.
How about another big round of applause for Professor John Strada on all his names. Well done. Graduates, the moment for which you have worked so long and so hard is now at hand. If you have not already done so, please now move the tassels from the right to the left. Now, Lieutenant Colonel Robinson, Chair of our Department of Military Science and Leadership, will issue the oath of office to our newly commissioned Army officers. Colonel Robinson. Yes.
Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Shane Riley,
Having been appointed
I've been appointed
an officer in the Army of the United States,
an officer in the Army of the United States,
in the grade of second lieutenant,
in the grade of second lieutenant,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to support and defend
to support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
and
bear true faith
bear true faith
and allegiance to the same.
and allegiance to the same.
I take this oath
I take this oath
without purpose of evasion
without purpose of evasion
or mental reservation.
or mental reservation.
I will well and faithfully
I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office
of the office
upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alumni are so very important in the life of a university, and we are blessed at Eastern to have the loyal support of more than 135,000 alumni. Dr. Tom Martin, president of our International Alumni Association, will now offer greetings to our newest alumni. Dr. Martin.
Thank you, President Benson. Graduates, today you are joining a very special group of individuals, men and women from all over the world who have brought great honor to this institution by distinguishing themselves in their careers and their communities. And today's commencement is a very special moment in your life. A number of your future experiences will be very transactional. You get a product or a service and you pay for it, and that's the end of that. But today we break out the robes and we perform this ceremony, and some of you will get selfies with President Benson in the lobby because the degree that you have earned today is transformative. It is your ticket to the gateway of the world. Provost Vice has said several times, Eastern Kentucky University will be attached to your name for the rest of your life. It is a capstone of your success and the relationships you created with students and faculty that will last a lifetime. Remember the person that volunteered to speak to one of your classes, or the faculty member that gave you that extra encouragement, or the significant event on campus that motivated you to get where you are today. How do you ensure that the next generation of students that follow get that same opportunity? As you have heard from Taylor and Alexandria and Renisha today, the letters that you have been added to the back of your name or the degree that you have earned today is not a ticket to entitlement or some rarefied air, but is your credential to responsibility. It is an expectation that you will pursue the world's biggest challenges head on and demand to be a leader. Be engaged, be encouraging, be extraordinary, and go Colonels.
Thank you, Dr. Martin. We've been here since 9 o'clock this morning. This is our third ceremony today. And at the back of the Coliseum is a group of students that did not have to be here. They are members of our EKU Symphony Orchestra under the able baton of Dr. Jeremy Mulholland. And I would like to thank them for the music they provided and thank them for being here. So thank you very much, Dr. Mulholland. Please take a moment now or later, if you will, to tweet about the people, the places, and the programs that were meaningful to you during your time at EKU, and use the EKU Twitter channel at EKU Stories. Tell us about the good times that you've had, the memorable classes, the friends, the professors, the events that marked your time as an EKU colonel. For the families and the friends in the audience, I hope that you'll follow us at EKU Stories and tell us about your own Eastern experience or pass along congratulations to today's honorees. Graduates, I certainly extend to each of you my congratulations and those of my colleagues. You depart this university with our best wishes and our most sincere regard. You leave EKU a better place because of your service and achievements. I sincerely hope a bond has been formed between you and this institution. Your diploma is more than just a piece of paper. As Tom said, it is a ticket into the world of educated persons, an invitation to join for life the Eastern Kentucky University family. From this time forward, the name, the traditions, the influence of this university are freely yours. Just as your achievements, your successes, indeed the tenor of your life will reflect forever on EKU. To the class of 2016, you did it. This is a Maroon Day letter in your life. We celebrate this singular accomplishment together with your family and your friends gathered today. You joined the ranks of proud alumni all over the world of an institution which has survived decades of challenges and turmoil, but which has also emerged even stronger and better. The trials of the present day are no different from what those who have gone before us have successfully overcome. I remember hearing a story several years ago of a traveler passing through a dusty and arid portion of Oklahoma during the dark days of the Great Depression. He happened across a lone farm, surrounded by nothing. It had a rickety old sign on a front gate which read thus: "Burnt out by drought, washed out by flood, ate out by jackrabbits, sold out by the sheriff, still here." And so are we, still here, since 1874, just like the sign that welcomes visitors to our campus proudly announces at the corner of the Bypass and Lancaster Avenue. You are graduates of an institution which traces its roots back 142 years. There is much to be said for being part of a tradition tied to a university with such staying power. The foundation that was put into place and built upon by subsequent generations of students, faculty, and staff in our community is strong. To be sure, the class of 2016 enters a world of tremendous uncertainty, filled with strife and conflict and opportunity. One of my favorite poems is entitled "Prospice" by Robert Browning. A few lines from Browning's remarkable prose speak of what happens to those ready for such challenges and equipped to tackle such opportunities. Browning wrote thus: "For sudden the worst turns the best to the brave. The black minutes at end, the elements rage, the fiend voices that rave, shall dwindle, shall blend, shall change, shall become first a peace out of pain." To the graduates before me today, the worst of times turn the best to the brave. As you heard from our student speakers today, this is your moment. Seize the opportunity and strive to make a difference. Do something of benefit to the world with the education you have worked so hard to obtain. Avail yourself of the boundless opportunities before you, given the skills and the abilities that you have acquired and the investments made by you and others in your training. Yes, this is the end of your Eastern Kentucky University education. But as the name of today's ceremony suggests, commencement, it is only the beginning of the big, bold adventure that awaits you as you enter the world as a proud Colonel graduate. Congratulations. Now, for one last time, let's recognize with a hearty round of applause the newest graduating class of EKU. The deans, your faculty, and I would like to invite you to a reception immediately following the ceremony. It will be held in the gymnasium in this building where you lined up this evening. As the recessional begins, please remain standing until the platform party has left the arena floor. Thank you again for being with us, and go Colonels.